Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at UFC Fight Night, Machado Garry versus Carlos Prates. Notice how Machado comes before Garry in the name of Machado Garry, and that's not his wife's maiden name. I mean, it was his wife's name before she married him, but it's not a maiden name, and that's kind of sus. Before we jump right into it, I'm going to give you a little word of advice. Don't forget to add your pick for the next Pope onto your parlay. It's only going to increase the odds. It's only going to give you a bigger payout. First up, we've got Chelsea Chandler versus Jocelyn Edwards. We're going to be going with Jocelyn Edwards. I feel like she's got better stand-up. I feel like the grappling's there. The takedown defense, at least, is there. The get-ups are there. So I feel like, yeah, she's going to be able to pinch out this decision victory. Which reminds me, this is going to go to a decision. The UFC has blessed you with the ability to be 15 minutes late. Maybe even 20 minutes late. Who knows? But you've been blessed by the UFC, so don't worry about, you can put it on. You can pass around the phone, get your orders in with the boys. You can go and put a pizza in the oven if you're so inclined. You don't have to worry. You can pop your head back in. Be like, what's going on? It's still boring. All good. Back to scrolling on my phone. Nice and easy. Next up, Timmy Kawumba versus Roberto Romero. I'm going with Roberto Romero. This is going to be another decision, by the way, but I'm going with Roberto Romero. He's going to be bigger. He's going to be stronger. He's probably not going to be as fast, but I don't think it's going to matter because it's Timmy Kawumba, and, doesn't really matter. So, yeah, we're going to go with Roberto Romero. Probably by a decision again. He's coming down a weight class. I don't know about whether he's missed weight or whatnot. I hadn't looked into it. Probably should have. But we're going to go with Roberto Romero because even if he did miss weight, that probably helps him anyway. Yeah, Roberto Romero, probably by decision. On to the next one. Now, this one's kind of interesting because I think I've seen a lot of people picking Jacqueline Amarim by submission. I could see it, but I do think it's going to go to another decision. I think we're going to get 3 stinky decisions, one after another. Maybe Jacqueline Amarim gets the submission. I could see it happening. It isn't impossible. It's not impossible. But Polyana Viana, probably not going to let it happen. Nah, fuck it. You know what? We'll go Jacqueline Amarim by submission because why not? We'll hope it livens up sooner, right? We'll hope it livens up sooner. So yeah, we'll go Jacqueline Amarim by submission because why the fuck not against Polyana Viana? I think probably second round submission, maybe early third round submission, but I think honestly you've got a likely another decision here on our hands. But we're going to be bold. We're going to be brave. We're going to pick submission. Next up, we've got Cameron Simon versus Malcolm Wellmaker. I'm going to pick Cameron Simon. I know I've picked against him in his last 2 fights, and I was correct in doing so. I think Cameron Simon's good. He's got good footwork. He's got good head movement. He's got really good hands, really fast hands. I just think he allows himself to be in situations where he's trading shot for shot, and he doesn't need to do that. And evidently, he probably doesn't have the chin to do that. Not that his chin's broken, but he probably doesn't have the chin to go shot for shot with some of these dudes. Nonetheless, I'm picking Cameron Simon. I'm thinking it's probably going to be a decision again, but we could see a Cameron Simon TKO, KO, follows him down to the ground and pounds it out, who knows, pause. Malcolm Wellmaker, a new fresh face to the UFC, looking to make a name, just coming off the Contender Series, I think, with a knockout as well. So, it's going to be 2 guys that are going to stand and bang. I'm going to pick Cameron Simon. I'm going to pick the better head movement of Cameron Simon. He's slightly smaller. I'm aware of that. He is slightly smaller again compared to his opponents. But Cameron Simon's usually the smaller guy, so his style's kind of built around getting underneath the guard and then coming over the top or throwing those uppercuts. So we're going to stick with Cameron Simon. I think Malcolm Wellmaker is being given the test of Cameron Simon, and Cameron Simon's kind of being dangled over whether he's going to be kicked from the UFC, kicked from the Xbox Live party. So yeah, we're going to go Cameron Simon. I'm thinking by TKO, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's another decision, to be honest. Next up, an actually entertaining fight. Damon Blackshear versus Alatangheli. That's how you say it. Alatangheli. We're going with Damon Blackshear regardless. I'm liking a Damon Blackshear submission, to be honest. I know the grappling culture in Asia is kind of like scramble, 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 and that's really interesting to watch. Especially, you know, the Japanese guys like to scramble a lot. The Chinese guys kind of they don't scramble as much, but they've got unique scrambles, to be fair. And plus they do like to rely on strength. Like they take that kind of like they kind of combine that American like strength build with the Japanese scramble build, you know. So yeah, I think it's kind of a cool blend. I just think Damon Blackshear gets it done. I think Damon Blackshear by submission. I'm thinking guillotine. I'm thinking guillotine. Honestly, I'm thinking Damon Blackshear with a guillotine. I don't know why, but I've just got that in my head for some reason that Damon Blackshear gets a guillotine. Maybe a triangle, maybe a leg triangle. I just feel like I just feel like fucking Antangheli is going to leave his neck out there, and Damon Blackshear is just going to take it, and it's going to seem really easy when it really shouldn't have been. It's just going to be a mistake from Antangheli. But yeah, we're going to go with Damon Blackshear by submission, and now I can move on from that name that I clearly struggle to say. Next up, Chris Gutierrez versus John Castaneda. I'm going to be going with Chris Gutierrez. I just feel like he's slightly better in every aspect, just slightly, and I feel like he does get the job done. I think it's going to be a decision, though. I think we're going to get quite a few decisions, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm thinking Chris Gutierrez by a decision. Maybe some good damage landed, maybe a TKO, but no, I'm thinking a decision. Honestly, a decision. Do I see a submission? No, I don't. We're going to go with Chris Gutierrez. We'll go with Chris Gutierrez, probably by a decision, unfortunately. This is what happens when it's all lower weight fighters. Like, look at this card. We've got women's bantamweight, men's featherweight, women's strawweight, men's bantamweight, men's bantamweight. Like, low finishes. This is a kind of a little bit of a stinky poo start. You know, people will be on Twitter being like, I don't think it's boring, I think it's super entertaining. I'm not a casual, but a boring fight's a boring fight regardless of whether you're a casual or not. And the sooner people realise that, the sooner the sport will improve. Evan Elder versus Gage Young. We're going to be going with Evan Elder based on experience alone. Gage Young, new to the UFC. So we're going to go with Evan Elder. Obviously, they've got the same amount of fights, but Evan Elder's got more UFC experience. So we're going to go with Evan Elder based on UFC experience. Nice and easy. Next up, a little bit more difficult. Matt Schnell versus Jimmy Flick. I like Matt Schnell. I'm fairly sure he's been absolutely battered in his last 2 fights. Maybe even last 3 fights. Off the top of my head, I couldn't say. I'll check in a moment. Versus Jimmy Flick. A name everyone's heard, but no one knows why. Yes, yeah, he's lost his last 3 fights. I ain't crazy. He has lost his last 3 fights. I think he got... Yeah, he did. Steve Erceg. I knew that. Yeah, that's why everyone thinks Steve Erceg's a knockout merchant, because he fucking bopped this guy. Because he bopped Matt Schnell. People are picking Matt Schnell, but I'm quite hesitant. It's not super uneven. It's moderates. We're talking moderate favourite to a moderate underdog. I do like Matt Schnell for this win. I just think 2 losses in a row is kind of a big confidence knocker. But it's not like he's against fucking, the new breeds, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, both guys are about 35, 36 range, 35. Yeah, 35. Both guys are about 35, It's not like he's coming up against a young top contender, a young savage coming to take his place. He's fighting Jimmy Flick. So, I don't know. 3 losses is bad though, and Jimmy Flick ain't too good either. I can't pick Jimmy Flick. I just can't do it. Can I do it? I can't do it. No, I can't do it. We're going to be going with Matt Schnell. I'm thinking by a decision, to be honest with you. I think both guys are going to be terrified to take a chance. So I do think it's going to go to a decision again. And hopefully it's not a boring fight. I know both guys have the potential to give entertainment. And both guys have the potential to actually, hit each other and potentially get a knockout. But no, I don't think it's going to happen. I do think we're going to get a boring decision. What a shame, right? But fuck it, we'll pick Matt Schnell. More proven, he's fought at a higher level. We'll pick Matt Schnell. He's been beaten at a higher level, but that can also be a learning experience at the age of 35 and the flyweight division. How much are you really going to learn? I don't know. He's not going to be a world beater, that's for sure. We're going to go with Matt Schnell. Possible TKO, but likely a decision. Matt Schnell by decision. Next up, we've got Ikram Aliskerov versus Andre Muniz. We're going to go with Ikram. 2 losses. 2 reasonable losses as well. One's the most recent to Whittaker. So, we're talking Andre Muniz, who's fought a bunch of people, I guess, versus Ikram Aliskerov, who's beaten everybody except Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker is a big challenge, to be fair. We're going to go with Ikram Aliskerov. I think by submission. I'm feeling a submission. Let's take a deeper look just to make sure I'm not a lunatic. I am liking him by a submission, to be honest. I could see him. See, I am liking the submission. I am liking the submission victory for Ikram Aliskerov. I just feel like it is going to be an exchange in the hands. There is going to be some back and forth, like trading with the boxing and whatnot. But I honestly think that Ikram Aliskerov gets it done. And I think he gets it done by getting his opponent to the ground, kind of weighing on him, and then getting a submission in there. I think it might be a rear naked choke, to be honest. I could see a ground and pound TKO, to be fair, in the same circumstance, against the fence maybe. Yeah, fuck it, you know what? We'll go Ikram Aliskerov by TKO. I think it's going to be it's going to turn very grappling heavy. It's going to be very lean and press against the fence and kind of make you carry my weight from Aliskerov. And then when he gets this opportunity, I think he latches up a submission, loses it, and then just decides to ground and pound his way to the finish. So yeah, we're going to go Ikram Aliskerov by TKO with ground and pound finish. Not super confident, but confident in Ikram Aliskerov. Next up, we've got Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dalby. I'm fairly sure I didn't pick Nicholas Dalby in his last fight. Did I? I can't remember. But I definitely picked Randy Brown. I'm going to be picking Randy Brown again. I'm thinking Randy Brown. I'm liking a Randy Brown KO, TKO, to be honest. I am liking it. Let's see. Both guys coming off losses. Split decision to Brian Battle isn't too bad. Brian Battle's pretty good. I didn't pick him against... Oh, did I pick him? Is that why I was annoyed? Did I pick him? Maybe I did. What are we thinking? Everyone's thinking Brown by decision. Everyone's thinking Brown by decision on Tapology. But I'm liking Brown to actually hurt Dalby, to be honest. I think he's got the potential to really hurt Dalby, especially when Dalby likes to get low and come in and like kind of make his way in. And I feel like Randy Brown's got those kind of like weird half hook, half uppercut smash punches in his arsenal, And he's definitely going to be able to defend the takedowns and whatnot. He's just based on fucking size advantage alone, it's going to be quite difficult for Nicholas Dalby to take him down, provided he can't just get directly underneath him. So we're going to go with Randy Brown. I'm liking Randy Brown with a KO finish, TKO finish. I know not a lot of people are seeing that, but I'm liking it. So we're going to go Randy Brown by TKO, believe it or not, just based on the styles. We've got Michel Pereira versus Abus Magomedov. We're going to go with Abus Magomedov. Michel Pereira is good. I just think he's outmatched, to be honest with you. I mean, look, who's he lost to, right? Abus Magomedov, who's he lost to? Sean Strickland, who became champion, and Barajo, which is a little bit more concerning, I suppose, but that's not a terrible loss. And you got Wally Alves. he beat Wally Alves, and then he beat Bruno Ferreira. And I'm fairly sure I picked Bruno Ferreira for some reason to beat Abus Magomedov. And then a loss to Anthony Hernandez, a guy who has potential to be a champion again, beat Michel Pereira. So we're going to go with Abus Magomedov. I am liking Abus Magomedov for the victory here. I do think it's going to go to a decision. I don't see either guy being able to finish. I think it's going to be a very careful fight where neither guy wants to make too many mistakes, and therefore there's not going to be a lot getting done. So yeah, we're going to go with Abus Magomedov by a decision, unanimous decision. Abus Magomedov by a decision. I think Michel Pereira just kind of waits too long to get anything done and kind of lets the fight pass him by, just trying to find the perfect open and the perfect shot that isn't really presenting itself because both guys are being too careful. And I think Abus kind of takes the initiative and just takes control of I think it's going to be one on control, if that makes sense. The judging criteria, you know. I think Abus Magomedov controls the octagon, the space better. And Michel Pereira loses because he just doesn't really get going. On to the next one. Giga Chikidze versus David Onama. I'm going to go with Giga Chikidze. I like David Onama, I do, but I just don't think he's got it in him to beat Giga Chikidze, you know? I just don't see it happening. Now, obviously, we'll ride on a 3-fight win streak, but were they very entertaining fights? Not really, you know? I'm fairly sure I did pick David Onama in his last 2 fights as well, which is pretty good for me and my predictions, but I find it hard to go against someone who's been reliable in the past. No. I lost to Arnold Allen. I don't rate Arnold Allen highly, but he's kind of got plot armor. He just kind of weasels his way through, in my opinion. It's a tough one. It is a tough one. It is a tough one. You know what? We're gonna go with Giga Chikidze. It's gonna be a close fight, and I do think it goes to a decision. To be honest with you, I do think it goes to a decision, and I think this is probably the one where everyone's like, "That was a robbery," but I think it goes to Giga Chikidze. Just more experience in the higher rankings of the sport, if you will. Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of an outclassing. I don't think he gets the finish, but I do think that Giga Chikidze manages to edge out a decision victory against David Onama, or David Onama gets tired and gets himself submitted. To be honest, I could see it, but no, I think Giga Chikidze does dominate. I think he gets the job done. I think he controls the fight. He puts in some good work, and I think he gets the decision over David Onama. Another decision, eh? How tragic. Next up, we've got Anthony Smith versus Ming Yang Zhang, or Zhang Ming Yang. Ming Yang. Wow. Zhang Ming Yang, or Ming Yang Zhang. We'll just call him Zhang. Anthony Smith versus Zhang. I can never pick Anthony Smith. Never pick Anthony Smith. Smith. I can never pick Anthony Smith. Not anymore. Anthony Smith gives up. He's got kind of like, you know, the way Leon Edwards gives up during fights. Like if it's not going his way immediately, he's kind of like, oh, I don't want to carry on. That's like Anthony Smith's the same, except Anthony Smith just kind of lays there on the floor. Like if Anthony Smith gets taken down, it's over. The fight's over. Anthony Smith is now going to lay there and try and be as safe as possible and just give up the whole fight from that point on, just to try and mitigate some damage. He's not going to take a chance to try and get up. He's just going to allow himself to lay there and get beaten up. But not so bad that the round ends, you know. Not so bad that they end the fight, you know. He's going to get beaten up and then get taken down again the next round and beaten up. And then taken down and beaten up again. So yeah, I can't pick Anthony Smith, unfortunately. So we're going to be picking Zhang. I think it's going to be a decision. Again, Anthony Smith, he can get finished though, to be fair. He might just give up and just allow himself to be finished. He's done that before too. We're going to pick Zhang by however Zhang likes, because Anthony Smith gives up. Because Anthony Smith is a quitter. Cover my mouth when I say that. Because Anthony Smith is a quitter. He just gives up. He just gives up, and I can't pick him. So it's going to be Zhang, even though I know very little about Zhang. Maybe I should take a moment to take a gander. Look at that. Oh yeah. Anthony Smith's going to get murdered by Zhang. I don't even need to look any further into it. I'm picking Zhang Mingyang or Mingyang Zhang, however you say it, in whatever order. I know sometimes it gets reversed. I think his first name is probably Zhang. But we're going to go with Zhang, probably by a TKO finish, KO finish. I think Anthony Smith is going to catch a shot with it and die. Finally, the main event. It's main event time. I feel like I've just been rambling nonsense. Ian Machado Garry versus Carlos Prates. It's a tough one. Ian Machado Garry's kind of hailed as the next generation, if you will. He lost his last fight, but it wasn't a domination. But he did lose. He did lose that fight. Although he looked good in the majority of it as well. He looked good a lot of the time in that fight, did Ian Garry. But he's fighting a fighting nerd. And how much do you rate the fighting nerds? If you watch this channel, you know I rate the fighting nerds highly. You see, I'm pondering now. I'm very stuck on what to pick because I'm talking myself into corners. It's a tough one. I can see why Gary's the favourite. He's also bigger. Carlos Prates is a fighting nerd, and the fighting nerds are doing very well recently. Very, very, very well. They've kind of built a large name for themselves within the sport. So do you pick the fighting nerd to beat the cook? That's the real question. Carlos Prates smokes a lot though, you know? Is that a factor? Yo, I love Prates by KO, yeah? I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so. Okay, I'm going to go with Ian Garry. Obviously I want to pick Prates. Obviously, I want to pick Prates, but let's be realistic here. Ian Garry's really good. He's an elite level striker. He's got really good grappling. Everyone has the chance. Everyone has a puncher's chance of knocking out their opponent. Of course, Carlos Prates Carlos Prates has the chance to knock out Ian Garry. Carlos Prates is also an elite level striker. I just think the striking is the only part of the MMA realm where he is better than Garry, potentially. Because he might not even be better than Garry at striking, you know? I think he probably hits harder, but that's because Gary's a vegan, you know? If Garry was eating meat, he'd be landing way harder shots, in my opinion. I mean, judging by his last name, Garry might be eating meat, just not the kind of meat he needs for the protein, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, we're going to be picking Garry. We're going to be picking Ian Garry as much as I've just insulted him to fuck. It's an absolute disgrace. I'm going to have to pick him to beat Carlos Prates. I hope I'm wrong. A victory of a 40-a-day smoker and drinker would be absolutely incredible over Machado Garry, who's very clean living, if you will. Mostly clean living. But yeah, we're going to go with Ian Garry. I think Ian Garry manages to get a decision victory or a submission over Prates. I could see it happen. I could see a submission. I could see Ian Garry getting on the back of Carlos Prates and just controlling him. And Prates just being like, oh, I'm going to have to wait until the next round before I can do anything here. And that opportunity not coming to him because Gary's latching up. He just attempts for submission after submission. He's very aggressive in the grappling exchanges. So yeah, I could see Ian Garry by decision. I could see Ian Garry by submission. We're going to go Ian Garry by decision. It's going to be a boring card. It's going to be a long night for all of us European UK fans, all of us real fans is what I meant to say. It's going to be a long night of boring fights. But so be it. Don't we love this sport, eh? Oh, this sport of mine. Until next time, keep your chin down and keep swinging. Peace and love. I'll see you around.